Alright, so we're gonna call this part two because I tried part of the last video and I felt unfinished. So this is gonna be part two. So hey, this is Mr.KB. It's February 23rd, 2014. And it's gonna be part two of the video that hopefully you just saw. Um, so like I said, I'm playing Call of Duty Ghost. Despite the reviews and despite what I might feel of the game itself, I still play every single one because it's something that I grew a habit to. Like literally, this game through Metacritic, through the fan reviews, gets panned year after year. Uh, and oh jeez, damn, I could die. Um, gets panned year after year because it's the same thing. And you know what? And a little, you know, and, and for a little bit of it, you know what? It actually is very similar year after year. I'm not gonna call it the same because the story does change. Their ability to tell a different story changes, and I respect that. Yes, it's an army story. Yes, it's similar. Yes, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to say. But I can respect the game's ability to tell a story, even if it is similar to other entries the same way. So, despite of what reviewers may say, I'm gonna play the games until I just say, you know what, enough is enough, and I'm done with it. And I feel that I think I think part of the reason why I think video game reviews are one, not as good as they used to be, and oh crap, and two, um, a lot different. It's because, like I said, oh crap, I think a lot of it has to do with money. A lot of corporations throw money at magazines, websites, whatever, advertisement money, bam, and you have to make the review somewhat favorable. Not necessarily always give them a 10 or anything like that, but an 8, an 8.5, keep that Metacritic score up. And I don't agree with that way of subjecting. I don't think it's as innocent as it used to be, unfortunately. So it's not really a failure as it is to me what's the word I want to use? I guess I don't want to say lack of passion. Oh man, I don't want to say lack of passion. I want to say a desire to fit the form instead of going against it. Because I mean, this is video games. Video games are a relatively young media as far as an entertainment media. We are what I'm gonna say 30 solid years of actual, like really being around heavily. Yeah, the Atari started it, some 40 years ago, but it wasn't to the same degree. The games were a lot different. It was at that point, I want to say it was a fad. It had its killer moments. Pac-Man and all that stuff, but Pong. But at that point, it was a fad, and the death of it proved that it was a fad. But once Nintendo came and dropped Super Mario, the fad, never went away. That's when it became a powerhouse. That's when it became just that thing that stayed, like music, like movies, like any other type of, sports. It's up there with those type of medias. And unfortunately, when something gets that popular, oh geez, when something gets that popular, you try to find ways to fit in because it's easier. You know, we I think people want video games to succeed so bad for the money involved that they want to conform to what the industry tells them, and the industry tells them, well, you know what, we're spending $60 million on this game, and you better give us good scores, because if not, we essentially can't be friends anymore. And that's fine, but I'm not part of that generation. You know what I mean? I don't think money spent. I don't think money investment automatically makes for a good product. Because especially nowadays, you see a bunch of indie games on Steam, now on PSN, on Xbox Live, little flash games that hit little websites. You see those now. And some of those people just invest their time, very little money, and they're able to just rock it, make a fun game that's just out of this world. And that's what they do. I'm shooting a friendly. So when let me see, when I hear game reviews, some of the questions that come about is why did they score the game the way that they scored it? Like, what was their purpose behind it? Is it one because they weren't given, that advertisement money? Is it because they weren't given, like the friendly first previews or anything like that? What's the true motive behind this? Is it to actually innovate? Is it to actually, or is it to actually innovate the industry, or is it just to say, you know what, I could have given you an 8 too if you would have just gave me some money, if you would have just gave me, any, you know, a palm greasing, as they call it in the radio industry, in the movie industry. Is that what the industry has become? And I think to a certain degree it kind of has. I don't think a game like Don't Starve, I don't think a game like um, I don't think a game like Castle Crashers, even though it has kind of, it's not, it is, even though Castle Crashers was heralded as a good game, I don't think games like that, of that ilk, outside of there being a phenomenon behind it, actually have a chance to succeed in today's industry, because game reviewers just won't waste their time on small games. They won't take the time to actually care for the games. I think what it is there's a lack of passion in the industry. There's a motivation to become richer through the industry as opposed to trying to innovate the industry. And it's very, and it's not necessarily hurtful to me. It's just kind of like disappointing. I see something like the movie industry, and I see how some of the smaller movies that don't have a lot of money behind it tend to be really well received because they were able to tell a fascinating story. You don't need Transformer type movie budget. You don't need a Independence Day type budget. Independence Day, now that's taking you back. We don't, they don't need that type of commercialism. People just like them because they're innovative. They're a fun way of telling stories. They're good flicks. But I think part of the reason why movies like that are able to succeed nowadays is because you have this industry now that is willing to give coverage to those. After 100 and something years of making movies, you have an industry which is ready to respect the non-Transformers, the non, Independence Day type films, the non, mega blockbuster type films. And I don't think we've reached that point in video games yet. I think a lot of what drives these 8 scores and 9 scores and 10 scores tends to be with how much money these companies can throw at another company instead of an actual passion for the industry, an actual passion for the games. And I think that's where we differ from other industry medias, where I think now the people on Reddit, on Gawker, on the Gawker networks, on internet forums, on those type of medias can kind of make a difference, because they're not motivated by anything. They're just motivated by the fact that they like a game. And yeah, there is some bias with anything, when anybody's opinion, when it comes, and that's all reviews are. They're just opinions. Jeez, I keep dying here. When it comes to anything of that ilk, there's always going to be some bias behind it. There's always going to be some personal. There's always going to be some sort of personal opinion thrown in. Like, I throw my personal opinion and stuff all the time when I talk. This whole segment here, if you're listening to it, this is all my personal opinion. This is what I feel. And I don't think that's going to be removed. And my point is to try to change the video game reviews. Like I have stated, my whole purpose behind this is to. My whole purpose behind this is to get people to talk. Do I think I'm better at doing this than other people? It's possible, but I'm not going to answer that question because one, sometimes I think I feel myself a little bit too much, and I don't think I'm the best. I think I'm just different. Jeez, what the hell? And now I lost my train of thought because this helicopter's pissing me off. But I, I think at this point I'm just gonna end it because I've talked enough and I've talked a lot about this, and I want people to kind of have an input here. I think we're still young, and I think that's where the problem. I think that's where the problem lies with our industry, is that we're still a very young industry. And one day we're gonna mature, but it's not gonna be overnight, and it's not gonna be quick. Honestly, I think we might have like another 5 or 10 years if we last that long. Oh my goodness, where the industry is just gonna be, how much money can we throw at these companies until the industry realizes that that's not gonna make any difference whatsoever as far as the games that people like to play. And I think once we realize that it's not about the money, that it's about the fun factor, it's about the not even production value, it's about the development behind making a great story that has great gameplay elements, that has everything that people are looking for. I think once we realize that aspect of it, that's when the industry is going to mature. That's when the industry is going to grow. That's when the industry is going to. I keep dying. That's when the industry is going to push forward to the next step. I don't think we're there just yet. I don't think that we're mature enough. And it's not the people in it, not the people behind it. I think the industry itself is going through an infancy right now of not knowing what to do for the next great game. They rather throw money at it, hoping that it sticks, knowing that that's probably what a lot of people want, as opposed to making people fish for it. And that's how the movie industry was. If you take all the movies from maybe the 90s to early 2000s, it was all about money, 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 money. So okay, that's where I'm going to end this video. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry I just rant, but like I said, you give this question to a nerd, it becomes a loaded question, and I can literally probably spend another 5-6 hours talking about my interpretations about everything when it comes to video games. And that's where I want to go. That's where I want this to lead, hopefully one day at some point. We'll probably touch this again sometime. But up until that moment, this has been Mr. KB. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.